Oh, sorry. I was muted. What's up, y'all? It's BC. Welcome back to another episode. This is another weekend episode that I wanted to shoot for you. Come on and just kind of shoot the shit with everybody. This is a format that I like. Again, this week I'm going to be starting the show that we're doing. And I'm really excited because I think I'm going to do that like Mondays and Tuesdays. I share the link with people. If they want to come on, we can chat. We might pick certain subjects to talk about. We'll see. I'm kind of going to leave it as like a free-flowing type of show format. I'm not going to try to be too rigid with it. I'm just going to have fun with it. All right. So let's get into the subject at hand. 2024 has already begun. Now, it already started in October, but I wanted to make this point and emphasize it because it's right around this time, pretty much after Halloween until the end of the year, that most people get lazy, start eating too much, drinking too much, slacking off even more, even though people aren't really productive in general, but they slack off even more because everyone around them is slacking off more, and it's more the vibe to slack off more, right? And overall, people start spending money they don't have, and this is not a time of holiday cheer like people say, right? Most of that for most people is a facade. Okay? We're entering the period right now where more and more people are depressed, upset, sad, unfulfilled, etc., etc., etc. And you need to realize that because now more than ever, this month, next month, is the time to really buckle down and grind and do what you do. And I would relish in that if it was me, right? Like 10 years ago. Relish in it. I was like, man, this is when I can build. This is when I can grow. This is when everyone else is taking time off. More consumer debt will rise now and accumulate than ever before, right? Think about all the things that we do around this time out of obligation. I have to do this. I have to go to this party. I have to send somebody a fucking Christmas card. Now, if you want to do that stuff, cool. But just make sure that you're doing it because you actually want to do it, not out of some fucking bullshit ass social obligation. And think about all the other things that would fall into that category, because if you'll send a card to somebody out of social obligation or do anything out of social obligation, there's going to be many more things that you'll do out of obligation in different categories because you're supposed to do it. Okay? Just like you're supposed to take time. Oh, it's the holidays. Chill out. Oh, eat a little bit more. Do this. Sleep in. Why? All that's changing is the numbers and the dates and the day on the fucking calendar. Nothing else. Just like I tell people in general, sometimes I don't really like the weekends because I can't even get certain things done because certain places are closed. People check out. They don't want to work. It's like, fuck, man. I can be productive still, but I can't be as productive because other people aren't engaging in the activity. So what does that mean for you? Well, I'm going to give you a couple tips and we're going to chat about this a little bit. Okay. Number one is trim the fat. Meaning, look at your situation right now. Okay. I want you to make a list. If you don't do it while we're on this live, I want you to do it after. And write down, even if you're not formal in regards to budgeting, right? Like if you don't have a CPA that budgets for you, right, and does your numbers like I do, then you need to do them yourself, right? That's one of the first things I teach my coaching members when they join is we go through a whole financial mastery course where I teach them, okay, this is what you need to do. This is how you set up your bank accounts. This is where you put your money, because it isn't taught. I had to learn it on my own. Nobody taught me that. But I realized that is a dagger in people's sides because they never really achieve financial literacy. But what I want you to do is just write down all your expenses right now. Okay. Then I want you to keep a log day to day. How much are you spending when you go to the store, when you go to the gas station? Are you getting Uber Eats? Like, how much money are you spending every day, every week, every 2 weeks, every 3 weeks, every month? And start tracking that. And you'll start to see where you're bleeding money. Literally bleeding money. Many of you aren't even aware. Remember what I've said, out of sight, out of mind. This is why I always recommend for people is like another little staple. When you're going to go out, especially if you're going to go out at night and drink or go shopping or whatever, don't take your cards. Pull money out of your bank and cash. So you have a physical representation of the money that you have. That way when you're spending it, you're mindful of what you're spending. When you swipe your card, out of sight, out of mind. And then you check your statement later, like, oh shit, I spent $1,000 the other day. Uh-oh. Guarantee you though, if you had 1,000 cash, you wouldn't have spent it. Even if you had a couple hundred cash, you probably wouldn't have spent it because you're like, oh man, I'm blowing through my money. Or at least you'll have a limit of 200. Okay, I spent my 200, I'm done. Right? But we have to start setting these things up, but more importantly, being mindful of it. So when I say trim the fat, take a look. Where are you bleeding money? Get rid of the monthly subscriptions that you don't need. Stop going to the gas station and dropping $50 on snacks. Right? All these little things. You'll notice that maybe you're going out 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times a week to eat. And that's costing you 500, 600 a week, maybe. I don't know. Because again, if you're not balling in the pockets, going out for a meal with you and your friend or you and your spouse or just you, and you're spending 50, $100 for most people, they can't swing that. It's like a day's worth of pay. You can't swing that, especially not if you're doing it regularly. But again, if you're not tracking, you're not looking, you're getting to the end of the month, you don't have money, and you're wondering what's happening. So that's this first thing to get in order, because moving forward, especially again, if you're not experiencing a meteoric rise, you're not really growing right now or building, right? Your income isn't increasing and all these markers aren't going up. Well, you need to set yourself up, because even I did that 6 months ago before we hit this phase that we're hitting in the economy and everything that we're dealing with. I cut my expenses even more, even though they were already low, and I made the moves that I need to make. Selling some properties and doing this stuff, right? Because I want to be sitting on some cash right now, just in case. But for peace of mind too. Because then if something does happen, I'm ready. I'm going to capitalize on the situation. But I'm always one step ahead, 2 steps ahead. We can't be playing catch up. That's the best part about starting to understand some of these principles and apply them, is now you're not playing catch up anymore. You start getting ahead of the game. You start being the basketball player that can anticipate. You start seeing things before they happen. You're already prepared for the best and the worst case scenario, right? But that's a thinking man's game. And it requires discipline, especially when it comes to finances, education, and discipline. Now, if you don't get it in order when you're making 100 or 1,000 a month, you're gonna hit some hard times if you ever start making $5, $10, $15, $20,000 a month. Why? Because it can be a catastrophe, right? And the stakes are higher when you make more money. You squander and mess around with 500 or 1,000, you can recover. You start fumbling the bag when you're making 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 grand a month. That can put you in some serious trouble, financial trouble, that could perpetually put you in a hole for years, maybe even 5, 10 years. Which is why in the beginning, you need to prepare and be meticulous about this. So map out what 2024 looks like for you financially. What would you like to make? Where are you at now? How would you like to grow by the end of the year? Where are you putting your money? Because 10% minimum of what you make, minimum, needs to be put into your education. So if you're making 10 grand a month, $1,000 a month better be put into your education, books, coaching, courses, trips, masterminds, whatever it is. So you can keep growing and expanding. That's not a cliche that people say. It's true. I continue to do it. I've done it. I mean, you guys see me do it. I host masterminds. I do all this stuff. Like, we're doing this shit all the time. Are you just, again, being a bystander and a spectator, or are you playing the game? And I keep seeing people spectate. It breaks my heart now when I do my lives on Facebook and YouTube and Instagram, and I see some people who have been still tuning in for years, which on one hand, I appreciate the support. I do, and the love. But the questions I ask and the situations they're still in, it's like, dude, how are you in the same position 2, 3, 4 years later? What the fuck is going on? What are you doing? It just doesn't make sense. But then again, they're not doing what it is that they need to do. They will not level up. And they refuse to do the things to get them there, especially this one, when it comes to finances, which I've given information about and talked about for 6, 7, 8, 9 years on YouTube. Now go to my old YouTube channel, not even the 2.0. Go to my old one that still has 200,000 subscribers or whatever. I haven't taken those videos down. I may eventually re-upload them to this one and delete that old channel, but they're still going to be there. I'm not going to delete them. I have people asking me questions today about shit that I answered 10 years ago. It's like, when are you going to learn? But see, that's on them, not me. They have to make the decision and make the commitment. And a lot of people just, again, they want to passively succeed. This is one that I came up with just now that I think illustrates this point. They want to passively succeed, not actively succeed, meaning they want it to be easy. Click of a button, watch a YouTube video, listen to a podcast, not do much, sit back, chill, and somehow something's going to happen. No, you have to actively do it. You have to actively seek, actively invest, actively take action. You have to do all these things, right? And that's simple, right? It's not easy because of the emotions and all the shit that comes with it, but this is what you got to do. You have to be active in this pursuit. And too many people are passively doing it, like 80, 90% passive, 10, 20% active. That's not going to work. It's got to be flipped. It's got to be 80, 90% active, 10, 20% study, passive, and all that stuff, right? So we talked a little bit about that in the finances, right? Number 2, I talked about trimming the fat, right? Which is kind of associated to that, meaning get rid of all the fluff. And that goes beyond money. If you're not happy where you are, where are you spending your time? Where are you spending your time? Because you need to take stock of that. Something or things that you're putting your time in aren't helping you grow. Get rid of them. And if it's something you love, like let's say, man, I love the car community, right? But right now it's not making you money. Put a pause on it. Use that as motivation to work your ass off doing what you do or creating what you want to create. So then you have all the time in the world to spend time wrenching your cars, being in the car community or doing whatever you want to do. Use that as the fuel to say, if I put in a couple of years here, I built something that gives me a lifetime access to this. That's a temporary and worthy sacrifice. But if you always are still stuck in this, I don't know, it could be fucking playing video games or whatever the fuck it is. Create a life where you can play video games all day if you want to do that, but you've built up passive and residual income and you've built up a life to where you can do that and it doesn't kill you. It doesn't put you in a shitty position. But you have to put in the work to get there. You can't read the 4-hour work week book and then suddenly do a 4-hour work week. You got to work to get there. You got to build something to get there. That's the beauty of putting in the work, is eventually you don't have to put your nose to the grindstone 24/7 forever. You do that for a couple of years correctly and consistently, we can build something. And that's what I love about seeing some of my students come up in my coaching, is now they're hitting that stage, some of them, where we're teaching them now how to leverage and grow and then get their time back, financial freedom, time freedom, right? Investments. Cool, but you got to get there. We got to cross that bridge. When we get there, then we can help you even more. But you got to get to that point. And that's why I spend so much time with them and I give them so much. I like seeing that. I can see myself in them years ago, but they've earned it. Just like you guys saw the interview I did recently with Jordan. Great kid, man. 27 years old. Joins my real estate Agagi program. Shout out to the Agagi. I recommend you guys join too. And the kid, just within 30, 45 days, boom, 4 listings, and he's just fucking killing it. But he's putting in the work, and he has the right environment, the right coaching, the right structure, the right community. Okay, we've put these things in place. Boom. That's the formula. But he had to step up and make the commitment. And listen to his story. Kid's Ubering. He's still not okay yet, because you're not going to dig yourself out of a hole in 30 days. But he made the fucking commitment. That's why he's getting the results that he's getting. He's willing to defy the odds and take the risk and do all the things that other people just are not willing to do. But that's what it takes. And that's why I love giving him shine and giving him attention and giving him his props, because he deserves it. But he looked around at the situation and was like, fuck this. I want more for myself. I want to do better. I want to be better. Let's go. And he went after it. And you heard his story. He used to be a dishwasher and he started listening to my stuff, and boom, he eventually gets his real estate license, and boom. It's incredible, dude. Incredible story. Watch that interview if you haven't. It's crazy. I had no idea until he told me on the... I had no idea until he told me on the interview. So what are some other things we can do? Well, I mentioned earlier, a lot of people are sleeping right now. They're chilling. What does that mean for you? Now is the time to strategically put in 10, 20% more effort, right? Go after people right now, right? If you're in the sales industry and you're setting up appointments or meetings and people refuse to do something during the holidays, like let's say they stonewall you, or for whatever reason, they're traveling, whatever, that's fine. Pull out your calendars and start filling out your appointment sheet for after Christmas or New Year's, and start booking appointments for the last week of the year or the first and second week of the new year. Every year I do this, I end up getting an extra 10, 15, 20 appointments. And that books out my first 2 weeks. I have my first 2 weeks booked out by the second week of December for appointments and sales meetings. Why? I'm thinking ahead. I can't get some of them now, but I'm already going to book them and get their commitment for later. That's what you need to do. This is how you stay ahead of the game. Then it's just a nurturing process until the new year. And then when everybody's trying to play catch up after the new year, you've already had an explosive start. If you guys have been following me for a long time, you remember the days when I was a solo agent on Instagram, posting pictures of me signing listings like, oh, this is listing number 1, number 2. Well, that's because I did this, and I would be out door knocking and calling the 31st, the 30th, the 31st, and the 1st. 1st of January, 31st of December, and 30th of December as well. So I would set additional appointments. And I would go get all these listings signed. So the first 2-3 days of the new year, I'd always have 5, 6, 7 listings most of the time from those efforts. And then the first 2-3 weeks from all the previous appointments that I set, we're off to the races. You see, but that takes diligence, preparation, consistency, and a lot of these basic things while everyone else is sleeping at the wheel. Now, what I just described is accessible to anybody. Anybody can do it. You don't need talent. You don't need to be special. You don't need a lot of money. You need effort and commitment and the willingness to do it. I mean, it's really that simple. Now, I can help you. I need help with the skills. I need direction. I need systems. Cool. This is why I've always been offering a ton of stuff. Most of my stuff is high ticket now, but you can check out the Real Estate Agagi if you're in sales or real estate. It's accessible to everybody. Anybody can afford the Agagi. That's why I made it, to remove the excuse of I don't have the money. There you go. It's in the description if you're interested, right? We also have a virtual summit on Tuesday that I'm doing, talking about the future of the real estate agent. You're welcome to join that too. That one's for free. I'm always doing stuff. So another thing you can do right now too is find that dormant hunger within you and bring it back out. Everybody has that somewhere here. Everybody. It comes out in different ways, and it's the angle of it, right? Where you find it is a little bit different. For some of you, it's just freedom. Like location freedom. For some of you, it's just you want to make a certain amount of money because you're in that mode right now, and that's a part of a life that you're in now. Cool. Let that be the fuel, whatever it is. To be the best version of yourself, to push yourself physically. I don't know. You got to find that and reconnect with that, man. Because that's the fire that burns that will get you up every day and keep you going. Because you're going to have to deal with all the shit that I deal with and everybody else deals with. The news, negative people, pessimism, doubt, your own mind working against you. Everybody goes through this. I'm not independent or superior to that. Neither are any of you listening to this or anybody in the world. We just face it head on and deal with it differently. But you got to have, see, I always have that fucking fire. I could be having shitty things going on. And believe me, I do. Because the higher you go up, guys, the more shit that gets thrown onto you and your plate. I just handle it differently. But that fire is always there. You're never going to take that fucking fire away from me. And this is why people don't fuck with me. Because they're not going to get anywhere. Haven't you seen all the haters that I used to have just disappear? Because they don't get anywhere with me. I don't engage with them. It's just a waste of time. Does the Agagi work for those of you in Europe? Absolutely. I have international students, people in Australia, Europe, everywhere, Canada, right? Everything that I teach on my coaching programs is for the world, right? There's no limitation. You see, but I can't give you that fire, y'all. No one can. You have to reconnect with it, right? It's not about finding yourself and all that bullshit. No. It's already there. You just haven't identified something yet in your future, a future version of you, an accomplishment or something that you would like to acquire that is dear to you. Like I knew that through real estate, I was going to build myself into a fucking monster, not just financially, but just as a person. And I wanted that so bad, I would be willing to do whatever to get to it. And that's why I attacked everything head on the way that I did. And I never stopped, nor will I ever. And that's the biggest tip that I can give you. Because when you have that, anything I tell you to do or somebody instructs you to do, it's just automatic. Because now you don't have to deal with the bullshit that people deal with, which is your own voices and all that other nonsense. That voice in your head isn't you. That's conditioning. That's what people have poured into you over the years. TV, right? Advertisements, your parents, your culture. Some of it is good, but a lot of it is bad. How do we know this? Well, look, how many people are like, yeah, I'm satisfied with my life. I love my life. Very few people. And a lot of people who say that are full of shit. It's a coping mechanism. So I really want you to connect with that. Now, that's found by engaging with life, y'all. Not watching YouTube, not sitting back, talking to people, exploring the world, going after activities and doing things that you enjoy. That's how you reconnect with that fire, by living life. Remember, before I got into real estate, I jumped around different friends and opportunities to try out different entrepreneurial endeavors. I work with them and I said, you don't have to pay me. Let me work for free to see if I like this. That's how you learn. That's how you find a career, as an example, not by researching online. You go fucking work and you say, let me work for you for free for a day or two and let's see. And that's how I ended up running into real estate. If you've never heard the story or if you forgot when I said it 10 years ago. We got to live life, y'all. We got to remember, anything you want in life is going to come through the acquisition of other people. If you do sales or real estate, it's a relationship business. It's people. You have to relate to people. I said this last night on the live. What are you doing every day to get better at that? Through what I've done, I'm magnificent at that. Most people aren't. And it sucks, doesn't it, to go out and feel inept socially? To feel awkward, to feel like you can't talk to people. If you're a guy, you want to talk to a girl, you don't know what to say, you feel scared. Doesn't that suck? Aren't you tired of that? I can help you with that, but you got to step up and you have to commit to it. Then I can help you. Okay? That's it for this one, guys. Appreciate you being on. Check out the summit. Check out the Real Estate Agagi if you guys are interested. All those links and everything else is below. If you want to talk to me about joining Real Brokerage, I've added, I think, about 20 people in the last couple of weeks. It's been pretty cool. It's been really easy to recruit to the company because it has so much to offer. All those links are in the description. My website, briancasella.com, briancasellacoaching.com. Hit me up if you guys have any questions, and we'll see you tomorrow.